What led you to this group for the morning skate and potentially in London?
Well, you've got to pick a team that represents your hockey club for the first exhibition game, and we decided to go with the group we have here. Obviously there's some London people that are going to be in our lineup with the Boland, Kadri, and the Rupert. So those guys were automatic. Those were easy ones to select as far as part of your team to go and represent the hockey club in a town that they have ties to. If not, they live there or they've played there.
Randy, we haven't had a preseason game with you yet. Does your goalie superstition continue on to preseason? Would you tell us who the starter is?
It's one of the two that were out there this morning. So you got a 50-50 chance.
Randy, what's the message to the roster today? Are you looking for guys to continue to impress you? Do you have anything noticed out there?
Again, it's a chance for a first impression from some of these younger players. I'd like to see them in more game-like situations. I thought the scrimmage yesterday was much higher tempo than what we've had, and hopefully, and we know that the game tonight will be played at a higher tempo than the scrimmage we played at. And that's really what we're looking for, is to see if some of these kids can continue to separate themselves, and we're looking for the positives, not the negatives. And there's two sides of the coin when you go to evaluation, and as obviously some people will play themselves into a position where they get a longer look, and other people might not be able to do that.
Is there any update on Fraser McLaren?
Fraser McLaren is scheduled to have an MRI here shortly, so we won't know. We couldn't get one yesterday or last evening, so he's in the process of traveling to get that done. We should have an assessment and a determination of what actually has gone on there by game time tonight.
Lots of elements to your lineup already, but when you have Devan, Gauthier, and Bodie perhaps on a line, always good to have size against Philadelphia?
They're big-bodied guys, and with our first pick, we want to make sure that Gauthier gets a taste of what the NHL's about. And with Bodie and Devan, they're physical players. We know that Philadelphia is going to have that element to their hockey club, and I really think every team in the league has that element. So we're no different than anybody else. We have young players that we want to put in some situations to give them a little bit more of a test.
How do you like your veteran guys to go about the exhibition games? Like, how do you want them to treat it?
How do I want them to treat it?
Yeah, like, do you want
well, it's important that they get themselves ready. And I think the veteran guys get a little bit more room and a little bit slack from the coaching staff in that perspective. But again, they're professionals, and they're in a situation preparing themselves and competing for positions. And as we all know, that the salary cap world changes things. It's a different way of evaluating sometimes when you're forced to make decisions based upon contract amount. And it's a new animal in the league, and that's the reality of it. So we're just trying to make sure that our veteran guys understand that there's still competition. We will cut you a little bit of slack, but it's all about personal preferences, how you prepare yourself, and if you don't prepare yourself the way we think you should be, we'll let you know about it.
You mentioned consistency with Joe Colburn the other day, but with his game and the type of size that he has, are you looking for maybe more physicality out of him, or maybe more bite?
I think, again, you look for everybody to be competitive. I don't think it's an understatement to say that bigger guys have an opportunity to have more of an impression from a physical side because they're bigger men. But again, I think it holds true for Joe Colburn to be first and get inside as much as possible. Use that body, use that size, that frame to separate people from the puck, to protect the puck. All those things are real important to our young players, and Joe Colburn is a guy that is vying for full-time NHL duty, and that's one of his strengths, and he should use it.
Randy, when you got a guy like Colburn, who was a top-line, big-time producer in minors and even in the college level, and he's behind basically a third or fourth line, does he have to view it a little differently as well? Or what's the challenge there?
Well, again, I spoke to that yesterday. Sometimes those players that played those major offensive roles have to take a step back and get themselves in a position where they're going to accept a lesser role to start. Get your foot in the door, as per se, and then find a way to develop. And usually what will happen is if the player continues to develop those assets or those strengths that he usually has shown at a lower level, will start to be more prevalent in his game at the NHL level.
Randy, how much do you keep track of pairs this early? Or are you looking at trios up front?
We try to match people up with, with people that are going to complement one another, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. We think that we've put some line combinations together that have looked good in practice and looked good in some of the scrimmages already. So we'll test that as we go. As you know, we're famous for scribbling line combinations down, and it just seems that every time we put somebody with somebody, there's a comment that we've done this for this reason or done that for that reason, and I kind of find it hilarious, actually.
Ready? What can Corbinian take from last year, just the 22-game experience, playing a lot of minutes?
Well, he's not a raw rookie anymore. He should take the experience and look at the positives, and that he was able to come in and play for our hockey club, and he got his feet wet in the NHL. Now it's to take the next step.